All right, Shalom Alechem, Erev Tov, good evening. We are continuing in the writings of Rabbi Chaim, David Halevy. I will see what we can finish tonight. Worst case, we finish some on the Thursday night between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippurim. So, we were spending some time discussing the concept of charata, of regretting a vow that we've done, hatarat nedarim, the annulment of vows. Last time we spent a significant amount of time on kal nidrei, and how it works to nullify something in the future based on charata that is already now. And we ended off with the idea that really throughout our exile, many people have used this concept of the Jews' ability to do hatarat nedarim as somehow Jews are not trustworthy people. You can't rely on them. They're tricksters. And this attitude, unfortunately, is still prevalent in the world. Nonetheless, we don't care much. As long as we're doing what's right and what's correct, then we're here to discuss the next part of the shiur. You'll notice that in the Selichot, if you want to open up the Selichot PDF, so we have Hatarat Nedarim, annulment of vows. We've really been discussing this Hatarat Nedarim for a while now. After Hatarat Nedarim, there are some Sephardic communities that have a custom to do what's called Hatarat Kehillat, annulment of curses. Suffice it to say that this is entirely a Sephardic innovation from the realm of Kabbalah. On page 146. Those seeking annulment recite the following declaration: Ve'od anachnu moserim moda'a livnechem rabotenu. We're also formally declaring in front of you, Rabotenu, that as to every evil thought, reflection, and desire of the heart, should it be conceived by our heart or our minds, especially during the time of tefillah and limud Torah, whatever aspect or form that is not for the glory of or according to the will of the Creator, from this moment we annul those evil thoughts, reflections, and desires of the heart that oppose the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, blessed be He, and His Shekhinah. A complete annulment like broken pottery, 147. And the more so, if we shall speak any evil or forbidden words from this moment, let them be null and void. Now we explain them and express them clearly. We reveal our thought and will with all our heart, for it is our will, desire, and intent to serve our Creator, Adonai of Abraham, of Yitzchak, and Israel, with a complete and perfect service and thought, speech, and deed, and reverence, love, and joy, according to the manner in which it shall all be done. All thought, speech, and deed that are not in accordance with His will, may He blessed be. May He be blessed. From this moment, let them be null and void, for they derive from the evil inclination and are all vanity. So that all our service to the Creator, may He be blessed, in thought, speech, and deed, all of it is for the purpose of bringing satisfaction to Him without any improper motive whatsoever. And then we continue, and this continues on. And then it goes into concepts of curses. So Rabbi Chaim David Halevy is going to use this part of the tefillah. This part of the tefillah to try to teach us something about Teshuvah. And here is the last segment where we're going to study halakha. And then Rabbi Chaim David Halevy is going to tie this idea into the realm of Teshuvah, and hopefully a little bit of what we've been working hard on the last couple of weeks will be satisfying as we begin to understand what Rabbi Chaim David Halevy was building up to until today. So on page Reish Aleph in your PDF, Reish Aleph should be on page 7. Yeah, page 7 at the top of the page. ביטול מראש של מעשה איסור, מחשבות, רגשות והרהורים. Rabbi Chaim is going to delve into this concept that we can, already before they happen, nullify all forbidden actions, thoughts, feelings, musings, all of them. We say that we're annulling from now going forward. עוד יותר הורחב הרעיון באותה התרת נדרים וקללות שנהוג בקהילות הספרדים בערב ראש השנה וערב יום הכיפורים. We can shed more light on this idea of charata, of teshuvah, from analyzing that annulment of vows and curses that are said by the Sephardim on the eve of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippurim. ובה מוסרים מודעה ומבטלים כל מין מעשה של איסור. And that is when we declare to the Dayanim that we nullify all forbidden things we are going to do in the future. וכן דיבור של איסור, any forbidden speech. מהמעשים ומהדיבורים האסורים מדאורייתא ומדרבנן, whether things that are forbidden biblically or things that are forbidden rabbinically, וגם כל מיני מחשבות זרות והרהורים רעים, and all kinds of bad thoughts. וכל מיני גאווה, and all types of arrogance, of ego, וכעס, and anger, וכבדנות, and strictness, וקינה. What is kabdanut? It's with a pay and a kuf. But kabdanut is someone is very strict about the way they like things. They need everything to be this kabdanut, or they get very strict at other people. On Reish Aleph, it should be page 7 of the PDF. They're very strict on other people. Vikina and jealousy. Vesina and hatred. V'tacharut and competition. What is tacharut? Isn't competition healthy? No, isn't competition healthy? Most of the time it's not. Most of the time competition is not a good thing. What's really the difference between competition and jealousy?
The intention of it.
Tell me.
Like, the intention of competition is like, I want to be number one. I want to be number one.
And jealousy? I'm jealous he's number one, so I want to be number one. You live in a world where competition is considered a good thing. Schools full of competition. Grades and honor rolls and all of these things are intended to encourage people through jealousy to do better in school. Are we still in a world where the end always justifies the means? The school system in the whole world is broken. The whole school. The whole world. But it was never fixed. People think like the American school system fell apart. It was never good. There was never a good school system, not in this country. Not in Europe, not in the West. Bichlal, I don't know of a good school system. By our Chachamim, there were good schools. Here, I'm not sure. This is any broken than it was 100 years ago? No, it's broken differently. That's the only difference. So this thing is broken this way, that was broken that way. Tacharut. In which reality do we promote negative midot, negative character traits in order to accomplish a good result? Who cares what grade somebody got? What difference does it make? What difference does it make?
I got an A today.
Kol hakavod. What? Someone got a B. What happened to somebody? What about the person who got a B? Is it going to affect who he's going to marry? Is it going to affect the job she's going to get in the future? A B. I didn't tell you an F. A B. Makes a difference? What about an A minus? What is that going to do? Is that going to stop them from getting into a school that they want to study in high school? So why are you busy in elementary school wasting kids' lives on grades? For what purpose? Oh, you want to make them compete with each other? For what purpose? How much more negativity comes out of competition, jealousy, anger, and then feelings of depression, anxiety, fear of failure? All of that is worth it for a stupid letter on a person's paper? But I think it's okay to tell somebody they failed. You didn't do well, you need to do it again. A pass or a fail system is a Torah system. We used to take tests by Rav Peretz. You think we got grades? He either told us, Yana, you know this, keep moving to the next section of Shulchan Aruch, or you don't know the section of Shulchan Aruch well enough, come back to me next week and try it again. But the guy who graduated with a 85 versus the one with a 90, you know the difference? These are things that are heaven. Tacharut is a bad thing. Competition. Business, you think competition in business? Sure. There is part of competition that makes people improve their products, maybe improve their service. But also, there's a lot of risk to that competition. V'chemda. Oh, chemda. What is chemda? This is one of the 10 Commandments. Lo tachmod. What is it? Do not covet. What is covet? But if I was reading the Chumash and I didn't know the word tachmod, I would also not know the word covet. When was the last time in English you ever spoke to any human being and said the word covet, aside from right now? Why do you translate Torah into ridiculous English words? We're not such fancy people. You could just say.
Maybe it makes sense at the time.
Yeah, sure. Chemda lo tachmod, the wife of your friend, the house of your friend, the car of your friend, the job of your... you enter whatever. Tachmod, chemda. Oh, there's two people who are guilty in chemda. I know people in the West, they don't like to hear this. Because it makes them upset. I'm in a capitalistic society, I can do whatever I want as long as I can afford it. That's how people live. Like Sodom. The person who wants what somebody else has, he's guilty of this avera. And who's the other one? The one that makes you want. You have a lot of money, right? Let me ask you, if I drive a Toyota Camry and you drive a Lamborghini and we both need to drive to Los Angeles, who gets there first?
I don't know. Whoever started first.
We started the same. The speed limit is still the speed limit. It's still 65 miles an hour. Who cares that your car goes to 180 horsepower in 60 seconds? Who cares? At the end of the day, I need to drive to LA. The only difference between you and me is you... You see, you go to people's houses. Sometimes they have like expensive... My wife always says, you go to people's house, they have like golden spoons and silver. They hang them on the walls, like a decoration. I'm not talking about the souvenir you buy for $20 in Denmark. The golden spoons. Why do they hang it there? Because they can't hang around their bank statement over there. You think they're weird for hanging their bank... Why are they hanging gold on their wall? They're trying to show you, I have more money in my bank than you have. That's what they're trying to show you. For what other purpose do you have golden spoons on your wall? Watch, some big donor now, Shiviti, has golden spoons, going to get upset, he's going to cancel social. That's okay. Why do you drive a fancy car? You want to show everybody I make more money than you. That's why you do it. It's not because your car drives faster. It's not because your car drives better. It's not because you get to LA faster. And guess what? It's not because your car lasts longer. You want to know why your car doesn't last longer? Obadiah, the guy who buys a Toyota Camry, how long does he keep the car for?
Up to like 400,000 miles.
400,000 miles? What about the guy who buys a Lamborghini?
It breaks like maybe 6 months.
And he keeps replacing them. Every year it's a new fancy car. So it's not buying it so it's a better car. Have you ever sat in a sports car before? Once, Yitzchak and I had to go to Los Angeles for a Brit Milah. My car was in the shop. I couldn't borrow cars. I went to rent a car from Enterprise here. One day, here in La Jolla. We came to rent it was a regular, like, mid-size, car. I came, sorry, we're out of all of our sedans, but we're upgrading you for free to they call it like a Black Series class. So some kind of sports car. Now, to go in the car, we had to go on the floor. It's like, you have to sit down. I don't know how to explain it to you. And the whole drive, you're sitting like this. The chair, it's leather, but not comfortable. Sure, it's got all kinds of projecting lights on the dashboard. Who cares? When I got out in Los Angeles, I couldn't walk for 5 minutes. I had to stretch. This is what you pay extra money for? What extra money is? Once I saw a guy who came with a Ford van. Ford, like my van, but they got it completely replaced inside. It looks like an airplane, first class. Huge sofas. Look, he's still driving a Ford. He invested money where it matters. Now he sits the whole way to LA like a king over there. He sits in a throne. Fine, I get it. I wouldn't do it, but I get it. Why does someone do it? Chemda. They want tachmod. They want you to want what they have. They want to show off to you. You go to somebody's wedding, you go to someone's bar mitzvah. When my children were born, I'm not embarrassed. Maybe some of you are embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. When my sons were born, I had to make a Brit Milah. I told my wife, what's the plan for the Brit Milah? We sat down. We came up. We're not going to spend more than $500 on a Brit Milah. What do you mean? Meaning, I have 50, 60 people I have to feed. By the way, Nacharan's Brit was like 150 people. So what do I need bagels and cream cheese. And I don't know what people eat in the morning. We do britot very early, at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, tuna fish, eggs maybe, some salad, and some orange juice, and some cookies. How much money can you spend on Brit? And guess what? My sons are Jewish. Baruch Hashem. You go to Brit, I was in a Brit Milah. I am not exaggerating, they spent more than $100,000 on Brit. I'm not exaggerating.
Is that the one you
No, I'm not exaggerating. There's a reason I'm not saying. Right? $100,000? $150,000 for what? Well, your kid is going to be more Jewish than mine because you spent more money on the food. What does it do? It creates a standard in a community. All of a sudden, the next guy who wants to do a Brit Milah with cookies and bagels and orange juice, guess how he feels? That poor guy, his wife wants to divorce him. His son is born, he doesn't even want this guy to be his dad anymore. So I said, I'm the rabbi of the Kehillat. I have to set the standard. What is the standard? Whatever you could do, $500, $400. I'm trying to be cheap? No. Nobody was hungry in the Brit Milah of my children. There was enough food, we sent home food with everybody. But it's a standard that you set in a community. Why does everything have to be to poke other people's eyes out? Why all the time? And what kind of chinuch, what kind of education do you give the next generation when you teach them? I went to a bar mitzvah at a wedding hall. A bar mitzvah. What makes a kid a bar mitzvah? How do you become a bar mitzvah? You turn 13 years old in one day. That's all that happens. Nothing else happens. In Europe, I just have a guy here in the university, an old man he was born in Europe. He told me, when I was in Europe, we did a bar mitzvah, we had some kichel. You know what kichel is? You ever had a kichel, Elchanan? Over there, you know what a kichel is? Baruch, you know what a kichel is? Some kind of dry Ashkenazi cracker. Sometimes a little bit sweet, sometimes regular, I don't know. And herring, you know what herring is? What? Herring is like a pickled fish. Imagine it looks like a white silver pieces of fish with onions. If you go to some places, they even put in sour cream, but mostly it's in vinegar and this. Then we had kichel and herring at my bar mitzvah. And guess what? The guy was like 89 years old, and he was also Jewish. His parents didn't have to go spend $150,000 to do a bar mitzvah. For what reason? It's my child's wedding. I want to spend money. I want to. Good. I'll give you advice. You want advice now? My advice to you is if you have $250,000, you have $50,000, you have $100,000 to spend on your kid's wedding, stop. Make a regular wedding like regular people do. And take that money and give it to your kid to buy an apartment. Give it to your kid to buy a car. Invest it somewhere for them. So when they have their first kid, then they can buy an apartment or a car. Why waste so much money for one night? The chatan and kala, they don't eat the food. They're so busy with the parents. They're too busy to eat. So who eats the food? All the people you don't like, all the idiots you have to invite to your wedding. They come to the wedding. You feed them. They dance with your DJ the whole night. And guess you just lost a lot of money. That's all that happened to you. For what purpose? In Ashkenaz, they were so poor. Sometimes they would get married right before Shabbat, so that the Shabbat meal could count as the wedding meal, because they couldn't afford to make 2 fancy meals in 1 week. There are some halachic issues with getting married on a Friday. It has nothing to do with food. But I think it's a good minhag. If it was up to me, your regular dinner, you add a wedding to it. During COVID, I did some weddings. You remember? In people's backyard. I did a wedding in your backyard. It was beautiful. Only the people you really wanted were there. The food was amazing. Everybody was able to talk. We danced together. Why? Right? The mega wedding. My dream is we should learn at least something. You want to learn from COVID? Learn that everybody who got married in those 2 years in a 20-person wedding, they're also married and they're also happy. You think about America, I don't know, the divorce rate is, where is it? 100%? I don't know what the divorce rate is in this country now. Yeah, it's a very high. So in your investment, I'm now financially, you're going to invest $200,000 in a wedding. You have a 55% chance they might get divorced. So at least only invest $2,000 in the wedding. Because why spend so much money when 2 weeks later you're going to need all that money for lawyers? I'm being sarcastic, obviously.
The big problem with those big weddings, it's like the yichud room seems to take 2 hours.
Everything there takes hours.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, chemda, ta'ava, these are things really. You want to do teshuvah for something? These are the things we need to do teshuvah for. Those of us who want what other people have, for no reason. For no reason. This week my wife told me, I wish we had a bigger house. Why? So because there are 5 families that want to come for Chag, and I want to put all of them in my house. And I just don't have enough rooms in my house. And Baruch Hashem, many of you already have people. That's the only reason. Baruch Hashem. I said, that's the only reason. Eshet Chayil Nimtza. I just wish we had 5 more bedrooms to put 5 more people in. But aside from that, I need a bigger living room. When I sit in my chair and I have my desk and I open 10 books, that's all I need. What do I need? A place for my computer? Okay, so give me another foot. I'm going to put my computer. How much living room do you need? I once went to La Jolla to put a mezuzah in somebody's house. I walked inside a mansion. I don't care. It's like by the cliffs in La Jolla. Huge. I can't tell you how many bedrooms. I put a mezuzot the whole day. You can put a mezuzot over there. How many people live in that house? 1.5 people. What do I mean 1.5 people? 1 old lady and her husband, who every other week he spends in the emergency room. They're old. So what do you need a 10-bedroom house overlooking how many thousands of square feet do you need in your kitchen for 2 people? Something in the way that we think is completely upside down. Mamash upside down. So these are the things we're saying. All of these things. V'chemda, v'te'ava, desire, v'nikima untira. Nikima untira. What is nikima untira? Nikima and netira are both types of revenge. The best example I could give you, let's say I go to Ovadia, I say, Ovadia, I need an extra car. Can I borrow your car for an hour? I need to go do something. Ovadia says, you know, when I asked you for your car, you didn't want to give it to me. See how good I am? You could drive my car. The other one is, no, you didn't let me drive your car, I'm not letting you drive my car. Now, one of them actually lets you drive his car, right? But in both scenarios, Ovadia is breaking a biblical commandment. Why? What does it have to do? You want to do chesed, chesed. Start calculating with everybody what you did for me, what you didn't do for me. What you did. That's not part of this conversation. Nikima u'nitira. But all of these avirot, if I think of the vidui of Yom Kippurim, you know the long one that we say in the morning of Ben Nisim? So many hundreds of avirot. I don't know about you, but I didn't break all those avirot. Listen, I know which avirot I did, yes? But not all of them. Some of those avirot are so... I learned how to do new avirot from reading that list. Some avirot I never thought about before. So why say vidui for all thousands of things you never did? Maybe focus on the 5, 6, 7, 20, 30, 40 things that you know you did. And then that's what you need to do teshuvah for. But if I'm talking about Yom Kippurim, somebody asked me now about fasting and headaches and da-da-da. I know that the rabbis in the world are very, very lenient about fasting on Yom Kippurim. Do you know what I mean? Almost for every reason. It doesn't matter if it's this or that or the next one. Almost every reason the rabbi says, don't fast on Yom Kippurim. I don't understand how these rabbis sleep at night. I heard cute things. Oh, he's very strict about saving people's lives, not so strict about... How many people who fast Yom Kippurim drop dead every year? There are people who are dangerous. When the Shulchan Aruch says people who are b'sakana, you know who's in sakana. Not every guy with a migraine is in sakana to die. When I asked Rabbi Perez, what should a person do who needs to fast? He said, tell them to stay home from the Beit Knesset. They should say vidui on Yom Kippurim and go to sleep for the whole day. Not to pray, not to walk, not to move. The avodah of Yom Kippurim is to fast and to say vidui. Aside from that, who said you have to go to the Beit Knesset? Of course, 6 hours in the Beit Knesset you're falling apart. You don't have to be there. But you have to fast. Now, if you're sick or I told you already, someone whose life is really in danger and they cannot fast, fine, they don't fast. But just for no reason to start getting rid of Yom Kippurim, what kind of crazy reality is that? And so here, there's averot that we need to think about. Averot that we did. All of the ones on the list here, I think every human being is guilty of them. So we say all of these averot. Im naaseh, o nedaber, o nachshov otam. If we do them, or we speak about them, or we think about them, ben be'ones, whether be'ones, what is ones? Unintended, without, by accident. Ben beratzon, no, that's not really accent. Ones is not accent. Ones is... What is ones?
Unavoidable?
Yeah, one is like forced to do something. They don't want to do it, but they have to do it. That's why the word in Hebrew for rape is ones. It's a forcing of someone on someone. Ben beratzon, whether we do it willingly. Ben b'shogeg, whether we do it unintentionally, that's the word. Ben b'mezid, or intentionally. Ben bekas, whether with anger. Ben bechavana, I mean, sometimes you do it out of anger. You don't do it thinking about it, you do it out of anger. Or we do it with kavanah. Ben shelo b'chavanah. Or we do it without kavanah. Me'ata, from now. Harei anachnu mitchartim alehem. By the way, it says anu, right? You see very often, unless it's a real pasuk from the Torah or something, that we, the students of Rav Peretz, we say anachnu, not anu. Anu is the shon la'alenu of the word. You don't have to accept what he said. This is the opinion of Peretz. You don't have to accept. We accept. The word anu is la'alenu connected to the word of onen, aninut, a person who lost somebody, a mourner. So we try not to use that word onen in any context that we don't have to. And it said anachnu. Now it's not, obviously it doesn't mean that here, but it's a particularity of Rav Peretz. Hanerot halalu anachnu madikin. We say, why? It's a rabbinic text. It doesn't matter what. If it says in the Torah anu, so what are you gonna do? מעתה הרי אנחנו מתחרטים עליהם ומתנים עליהם. We regret the future actions now, and we make a condition. שיהיו כולם בטלים ומבוטלים, that they should all be nullified. ולא יהיו חלים כלל, and they should not even take root at all. ובכולהון נתחרטנה בהון מעתה ועד עולם. And all of the avirot that we're going to do from now going forward, we regret them already now, so they shouldn't stick. This is the Teflon Tefillah. So how does this work? I mean, through which context does this... You didn't do the Avirah yet, right? You didn't do it yet. So what value is there in saying right now that the Avirah will not stick? How do you regret something that you did not do yet? We spoke about this last week in the context of Kal Nidrei. Welcome. In the context of Kal Nidrei. And now we are speaking about it in the context of Hatarat Kelalot. Shalom Aleichem. Welcome.
Sometimes you want to do something, and then you say, "Oh, what am I thinking?"
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet, but what's how I think?
So what's the point though of saying now that all the averot I'm going to do in the future, I regret them? What's the point? Yes? Let me do this. Ariel Halevy. Do you guys all have airdrop?
Yes.
1 second. Someone asked me a question, but 1 second. Let me airdrop this to you. Ariel Halevy, I'm airdropping to you. Shira Cohen, I'm airdropping to you. Linaz, you have airdrop? Can you send it? Can you send it to her in WhatsApp? Yes.
Ariel and Shira are there.
They knew you were going to Chicago, so they came.
They came. Wow.
Okay.
You didn't want to stay
Nice. Wow.
She has a sister. That's tough competition. Yep. So Rabbi Chaim David Halevy tells us on page 7. Ve'ata, now nitma al atzmenu. Let's ask a question on ourselves. Ketzad tofeset charata mirosh al maaseh shelo na'asa adayin. How can I regret something? How does it even work that I regret something I didn't even do yet? Ela, rather, משום שכל רצונו הבסיסי של אדם הוא לעבוד את בוראו עבודה תמה ושלמה. Our Chachamim have a tradition, an understanding, let's say better, that every person really wants to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu properly. That's what everybody wants. That's what you want, that's what I want, that's what everybody wants. וברגע שהוא חוטא, and in the moment that we make a mistake and we do a chet, אין ספק שהכרתו הייתה מעורפלת מאותה בחינה של הרצון הבסיסי הזה. then means that when I did a chet, I'm going against my true desire, which is to listen to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I mean, by default, every chet is a mistake. Every chet is going against our nature. Our nature is to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what we want. That's our desire. And we keep messing up over and over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean we don't want it. ולכן, and therefore, מתנה אדם מעכשיו ומוסר מודעה. That's why now, before the Bedin, we're submitting this declaration. שכל מעשה איסור אם יעשה על ידו הוא מצד היצר הרע והוא בטל. והחרטה באה מעכשיו או לפני המעשה. Remember we said that when a person comes to nullify a vow, in order for charata to work, you have to be able to go back in time before the vow happened and get rid of the vow. You can't get rid of the vow today. It has to be retroactive. Yes? It has to be retroactive. We gave an example. A man who marries a woman and says, I marry you on condition that you have no nidarim. And then he finds out she has nidarim. Is she married? No, she's not married. Tomorrow she could walk away with another man, nothing happens. If a man marries a woman and says, I marry you on condition that you have no illnesses or wounds or medical issues, and she has, is she married? No. If she goes to a chacham the next day and does hatarat nedarim, she is married. If she goes to a doctor and he heals her wounds, she is not married. Say chachamim, what's the difference in a rabbi and a doctor? The doctor only heals her illness from today going forward. So last night under the chuppah, was she married? No, because yesterday she had problems. Last night she had nedarim, no? But the mechanism which the chacham uses to get rid of her neder is retroactive, which means that today we made sure that last night there was no neder. And in that case, she got married last night. That's the way charata works, which is why we asked the whole question about Kal Nidrei. We asked the question about, how can I do charata? How can I regret something I didn't do yet? She's explained to you how it works. I'm telling you that you didn't want to do it. Whatever you're going to do in the future, now, in your moment of clarity, now on Erev Rosh Hashanah, Erev Yom Kippurim, you're standing in front of a Bedin, and you are saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please understand that this is who I want to be. The person I am today is who I want to be. The person I'm going to be in 2 months from now is not who I want to be. That's someone forcing me. That's my yetzer hara forcing me. And that's the mechanism of charata in the future. רצון בסיסי זה של כל אדם ישראל, לעשות רצון בוראו. This concept that every person wants to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's only the yetzer hara who gets in the way. מבואר הוא בדברי רבותינו בגמרא על הפסוק אל פתח אוהל מועד יקריב אותו לרצון לפני אדוני. It's a wonderful Gemara. The Gemara here talks about a person who wants to bring a sacrifice to the Beit HaMikdash. He has an obligation to bring the sacrifice. We know that sacrifices are only accepted lirtzono lifnei Adonai. What does lirtzono mean? Hashem tells Moshe to take teruma from every man who asher yidavenu libo. What does that mean? Everyone whose heart wants to give. What if my heart doesn't want to give? It doesn't count. So Chachamim have a very interesting halakha here. Yakriv oto, he should bring the offering. Milamed shekofin oto. Rabbinic tradition teaches us that we force the person. How do we force the person? What is kofin? How do you force a person? You hit him. You take the guy behind the bedin and you beat him up until he's okay, I'll bring a sacrifice. Says the Gemara, Yechol bal kochot emul omar lirtzono. It has to be out of his own will. How did this work? Haketzad. Kofin oto ad sheomar rotzani. You beat him until he says, I want to. Umaksha Gemara, the Gemara asks on page Resh Bet, page 8, V'halo bilvad b'libo eno rotzeh. But we know that his heart doesn't want to give this animal as a sacrifice. V'tirtza, the Gemara answers, Anan sahade, we are certain, denechale b'kapara, that he really wants the atonement that this sacrifice will bring. And so even though it looks like we're forcing him, we're only spiritually realigning him with himself.
But it's just like a direct order. You need to feel like
But this is a direct order that you have to want to do. It's not a regular mitzvah. Yes? This has a very big connection to the laws of divorce. I've spoken about this before, mostly off camera. We talk a lot about this aguna crisis. I'll borrow a modern term that I don't agree with. There's a crisis of agunot, also of men who are agun. There's crisis on both ways. Why? Because we are captives of a broken bedin system. Our batei din don't work. They're not functional entities. Nobody listens to them. Nobody cares about them. Now, someone called me up from Los Angeles. There's a guy, he's been withholding a get from his wife for like 40 years. Now, I don't know why now, the chief rabbinate reached out. Maybe they can get all the rabbis together to throw him out of the synagogue. They called me, my advice. I said, listen to it very carefully. I think it's a great idea. I mean, they should have done this 42 years ago. I don't know what you did now. But it's not going to work. This guy's rich. He has money. There's one rabbi out there who's going to let him pray in his synagogue. As long as he has one rabbi, he doesn't care about you. He doesn't need your Beit HaKnesset and your Beit HaKnesset. This mechanism doesn't work. Sure, that's one way to pressure people into giving a get, but it's a stupid way to do it. It doesn't work unless the whole community gets on board. Unless if everybody doesn't work together regarding the eruv, and nobody agrees about kashrut, and nobody agrees about Shabbat, so how do you think they're going to agree now about a guy like this? It's not going to work. And no, mostly because he wants to make her life miserable. He has the power, halachically at least in this case, to make her life hell, and he wants to. So they have these, we made a prenup, as if some chidush of the world happened here. What is a prenup? The prenup says, when a man doesn't want to give his wife a get to his wife, so the bedin will fine him $125, $150 every day. Okay, listen, if you fine me $150 a day, tomorrow I'm going to have to give a get, because that's pretty much going to wipe out my bank account. But if you're some rich man, you're enjoying torturing your ex-wife, she's really your wife, so I'll pay it. You're saying all I have to pay is $125 a day to watch her miserable? You think I'm exaggerating? There's a guy now. That's what he's doing. There's a guy in Israel now. They already put him in prison. He's still 2 years into his sentence. And he won't give her a get. He can walk out